Depending on which one you're looking at and over what period of time, cryptocurrencies are either an asset class worth investing in or a complete disaster. Bitcoin, for instance, up 110% in the last 12 months to just over $7,000. But even at those levels, it's less than half of that December 2017 peak of just over $19,200. Most regulators are also issuing repeat warnings about cryptocurrencies. Kenya Central Bank, for instance, has a long-standing directive to banks in the country to not let anyone open a bank account with the express intent to trade in crypto assets. That's been in place since December 2015. Despite all of this, however, there are growing cryptocurrency markets to be found on the continent. Zimbabwe, for instance, is home to Golix. South Africa, next door to it, is home to Altcoin Trader. And now there's a new entrant with continental ambitions, KuBitX. So then, given how volatile the crypto market tends to be in the fast-changing regulatory environment, what is the business case for investing not in cryptocurrencies, but in an entirely new exchange? Let's find out. Annan is the CEO of KuBitX, is with me in studio right now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So you're trained as a banker, but here you are jumping into the crypto side. Why?
Thank you so much. The world has actually been disrupted by technologies. We've seen several technical disruptions from the days of internet. Then we saw the email technology taking over the world. Then we saw e-commerce, Amazon being the first.
Yeah.
Then we saw mobile phones coming in the space. Then social media. I remember very well with social media. People fought against it. People thought it was not going to work, but today we know the power of the social media in the space. Blockchain is actually the seventh disruptive technology. Matter of fact, it's one of the most described technology that is said to be one of the most advanced. For me, there will be resistance with technologies. However, you cannot fight technology. So as people, as African person, I've seen Africa being just consumers of all this technology, the internet, the telecommunication industry, the social media, the e-commerce, for example. So I asked myself, will Africa continue to be just consumers of technology? The answer is no. We have smart Africans working for Fortune 500 companies, Google, Amazon, all this, Microsoft.
Right.
These are smart African guys. Matter of fact, in Kenya, the current cabinet secretary was former Google's, CEO. Yeah. And these are smart guys. We think that it's time for Africa to be part of the wave. Blockchain is being adopted in several countries.
But there are several practical obstacles, though, right, in reality, to getting to that vision that you're painting. Because, for instance, if you look just at currency markets alone, right, I can think of a shilling rand pair. That's relatively straightforward to get. You can find a Kenya shilling, Tanzania shilling cross. But finding a Kenya shilling, Nigerian naira cross, for instance, that's virtually non-existent. But as I understand it, your goal eventually is to have this exchange essentially servicing a lot of African currencies, a lot of African markets. So how do you overcome that currency problem?
Great. We think that Africa as a continent, it's time for us to begin to answer some questions. Now, why should an African, for example, Kenya, for example, if you're Kenyan, and you want to transact business in Ghana, for example, why should you transact the business using the US dollar? Why should it be possible to use shillings and transfer to Ghana and then convert it to cedis? Vice versa. And we have seen that the blockchain, one of the derivatives of the blockchain is the cryptocurrency. Matter of fact, cryptocurrency is on blockchain. Blockchain is the technology through which cryptocurrency drives. And therefore, we think that Africa as a continent, we can actually come out with cryptocurrency, a token, that can be used to mortgage our currencies. Why? Because there's no demand on our currencies. There's no demand in the city. Angolan currency is actually do not move around Angola. Yeah. The same way, if you go to Ghana, the city doesn't move beyond Ghana. Naira operates within Nigeria. Why shouldn't have a borderless currency like the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin, the Ethereum is borderless? Now, these currencies have been adopted in several countries. In Switzerland today, as I speak, banks actually accept this, as a means of payment, as a means of, other things. In Malta, for example, the government has actually taken a position that, hey, we accept this. Banks in Malta accept cryptocurrencies.
So that loops back into the ICO that you guys have planned as well,
exactly.
Right.
So KuBitX is actually an ambitious project. KuBitX is actually taking a lead in this frontier. Now, exchanges are actually a medium by which cryptocurrency will be interacting. People will trade, people will exchange, like a bank. But now we are moving to a digital bank. That's why exchange become very powerful and a critical role to play in the economic situation of Africa. So we in KuBitX, we believe that we can use KuBitX exchange to connect Africa by creating wealth as a strategy in the next 10 years. Let me give you a statistics. A statistic shows that in the whole of the world, crypto consumption between ages of 18 to 34 is 34%. And Africa is the only continent that has active young population. Between 18 to 35 years, we have the largest, about 50%. We think this is the future for us Africans as young people to front this for our future. We need to create a future. We are not sitting back for the future to wait for us.
That's all well and good, but as I wrap up, in the Kenyan context, the central banks have this long-standing directive to banks. If anyone comes to you and says, I want to open a bank account and I'm going to use it to trade Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, whatever, banks, by that directive, should not touch that account. They shouldn't even open it in the first place. And Kenya is not the only place that has directives like that in place. Given those sort of obstacles, practically speaking, how do you get around it?
Beautiful. There's a say, you cannot regulate something that you don't understand. First of all, the central banks across Africa, the best thing they need to do is to understand what this technology is about. Once you understand it, you begin to get to know the implementation processes. So we think we are approaching the central bank. For example, we're in Zimbabwe 2 months ago. We approached the central bank governor. We spoke with him that, hey, this thing is here to stay. This is our plan. This is our business plan. We think that we can use blockchain and cryptocurrency exchange. I'll give a typical example. There's a company called Binance. Binance came into being last year. Today, Binance is a $1.5 billion company. It's a Chinese company. It's a cryptocurrency company. Why can't Africa look into this disruptive technology and create wealth for its people? So for us, we think that we are going to approach central banks of different countries, in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Cameroon, in Angola, in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, for us to chart a course, to have a strategy, to have a plan, and have policy direction. Because blockchain, whether we like it or not, Africa should not sit back for the whole world to say this is where we are going before we come in. So we are taking the course to them that this is the plan. We are going to create an exchange that will implement regulations. In fact, KuBitX exchange is going to be the first exchange to be regulatory ready. We are going to have an exchange that will have tax systems. So if you are operating in Zambia, there will be tax for the government. If you are in Kenya, government will have taxes taken from the people who are trading on the exchange. So we are ready for that, for Africa to actually position themselves for the future.
Right. We'll have to leave it there for the time being, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.